and welcome back to the Illuminated Feminine Podcast. Party people, we are ready. I have my headband on. I'm bringing back 1980 something. Bringing back the headbands. All I need is a scrunchie today. But
I have both too.
I'm so excited today to dive into a heart-centered conversation with one of my dear friends and past clients, Angela Orr, who is a personal coach and owner of Angela Orr Consulting. She is a wealth of knowledge. I'm so excited to have her on here today. She's actually a superstar on Facebook. She does all of these amazing Facebook Lives. So I'm like, I have to have you on our podcast. So go ahead and introduce yourself. Just tell us a little bit about you.
Okay. So thank you so much. And I am so thrilled and honored to be here. Thank you, Christina, for the opportunity. And as Christina said, I am not only a friend with Christina, but a past client, and she is amazing to work with. So if you're on the fence about that, don't be, just jump. So about me, so I wanted to get that in there. About me, I am a pharmacist of 35 years. I have been in the industry actually 41 years, and I know I don't look it, but my age.
You look radiant.
I feel like I'm just coming into my own. It's wonderful. I am a serial entrepreneur, so I've had a very varied and very interesting background for a pharmacist, I think. And although I've worked a lot of traditional pharmacy also. Up until several years ago, I owned my own pharmacies. I owned two, part of my serial entrepreneur background. And then several years ago, with all the changes in the industry and just looking at a different direction, that I feel like so many pharmacists get boxed into box stores.
Yeah.
And I just felt like it was time to really do something. Even as my own pharmacy, there are certainly a lot of things you can do, but some things you can't do. So I just thought, it's time to move on and do something different. So I sold my two pharmacies, and I am breaking into the online world. And online, I mean, doing things remotely, not necessarily from home, but from wherever you are, because I think with the advent of technology is so important for us to shine our light and to make a difference. And we can now, not just with, a 10-mile radius like you do with a brick and mortar, but around the globe. So Christina has come into my life during this path, which has been wonderful. And I have different coaches and programs that I work with. And now, I'm getting together my own program.
Beautiful. Yeah. And I love how you said you just kind of described your journey and how you came into this online space. And I feel like, like I said, you're a superstar in my eyes, because
I love doing lives.
Yeah. If you see her on camera, and that's why I was like, we have to have a YouTube video for this as well. Yeah. So tell us, I know that, you've been a pharmacist for 35 years. You've been in this space for 41 years. Tell me a little bit more about kind of what led you into the healing space.
So, I think only recently I really described myself as a healer.
Yeah.
Although that's what I've been my whole life. And, I've always cared about people. I've always wanted to help people with their health and, not only physical now, but mental, spiritual. Back in 2013, I was diagnosed and treated for breast cancer in 2013, 2014. The great thing about all of that is I'm a victor. I don't call myself a survivor. I consider myself a victor. And it really opened up my eyes as to what am I doing and what am I here for and how can I make an impact? The good thing about my whole breast cancer episode is that my surgeon called me a very uninteresting case. And if there's one time to be boring, that was it.
Yeah.
So I started looking at, traditional medicine and, the way that we treat. And even as pharmacists, I think we have so much knowledge and so many wonderful pharmacists I've met, again, like I said, getting outside the box, you have a lot of traditional medicine or Western medicine, which is actually much older than or much younger than traditional medicine. And I thought, how can I help myself, especially if this is a uh, interesting case of cancer, not only through the traditional methods, but through other things. And I started really looking at, there's so much more than given a pill to treat a symptom.
Yeah.
And then you have to give another pill to treat the side effects. And we spend more in this country in today's world on drug interactions and drug side effects than we do on drugs. So I started looking at, and again, like I said, I started to look at what more can we do, or what more can I do? And
Mm-hmm.
that's also when my spiritual path, I've always believed in God and Jesus and the spirituality of my life, but it really came into focus at that time because I just knew that God and Jesus would take me through, and he did. But I felt like the things that I've learned and how that is so important to your overall health that I've got to share this with others.
Right, right. It almost sounds like that was your spiritual awakening where you were like, wow, this happened. And now it causes you to reflect and look at, wow, like what is my life purpose? How can I really serve and help other people? So I found that a lot with talking to different people throughout my life and even with myself. I mean, mine was an eating disorder, but sometimes that's when God wakes you up. It's like, hey, here's this thing that it almost like is out of your control in a way. So it's like you're forced to surrender to something bigger. And that's how you go down that spiritual path. Um, so if you can look at it like that, like I know with me, I looked at it as a gift. I'm like, I know I was given this because it was meant to help me wake up and to start treating myself differently, to nourish my body. Cause I hated myself,
Mm.
from the early programming of shame around who I was and low self-worth and all of that. So I think that that really woke me up to how I was treating myself and my patterns. So, but yeah, that's a beautiful story. Thank you for sharing that. And with
As they
it,
say, I've heard
yeah,
people say, your mess is your message.
yeah, that's a good one. Absolutely. So tell me a little bit more about, so what were some of those things that you discovered? Like I know you love to talk about, and I'm with you on this, quantum physics and heart coherence and all of that. Describe a little bit more in your mind, what is heart coherence and how does that help people?
So, as a scientist, which I feel like I am,
Hmm.
I, I wanted to look at what is the spirituality, not from a scientific cold perspective, but how does that really help and make a difference? And that, again, that wasn't necessarily my thought at the time, but as time has gone on and I look back, I can see that's kind of the path that I've taken. So currently what I really am interested in is epigenetics. And
Hmm.
people are like, epigenetics, what the heck is that? Well, epigenetics is basically, we all are born with genes. You're born and die with the same genes. But what makes disease, or what has you not in coherence, is when the expression of those genes are not turned on and off correctly.
Hmm.
And the biggest reason, or the biggest influencer of that is the environment. And the environment, what I mean by that is what you eat, what you drink. Stress is a huge one, and your thoughts and your mind.
Hmm.
And so what I have found through my research and what I've done personally myself is that, you know, I have found so often that people who want to say lose weight, including myself, and I'm on this journey right now, or you want to improve your health or whatever, is very difficult to do if you don't have your heart healed. So
Hmm.
many people have broken hearts, whether, like you said, Christina, from past programming, your childhood. And I'm not blaming my parents. They did the best that they can, and they did a pretty good job because all five of us children are professionals and college educated, which I was the very first one to graduate college from my whole extended family.
Wow.
yeah, from Holy State. And now there's been so many after me that have. So that was, but I just have found that, if you don't have your heart in the right place, it's very hard. Plus, epigenetically, it is scientifically proven that your heart sends more energy and messages to the brain than the brain sends to the heart. So truly, your heart is the center of your body. We all think the brain is, but the brain gets more messages from the heart than it sends. The other thing that's really interesting recently that I really discovered on my journey is that, we all have an energy field and we all talk about energy. And I'm sorry, I hope you don't hear that, but you probably do. That's the good and bad about working sometimes from your
It's
home,
all
but
good.
it's all good. My doggy was working. So, but what I was saying is that, you have energy around your body. And again, this is scientifically proven. And that energy actually emulates or comes from your heart. So the lower your vibration, or if you're very negative and in a dark place, a lot of times then your energy is lower, and that's because your heart somehow is out of coherence with your brain. So
Hmm.
I've done a lot of studying of that recently, and I have some exercises that I do, and I am sharing them in my group, which we'll talk about in a little bit.
Yep.
But I just feel like practically or pragmatically what that does is I can tell, you know, as I heal my heart, that so many other things in my body are healing naturally, and that it makes a difference in how I think about or react to the circumstances around me.
Hmm.
Because really, life to me is all about not what happens to you, but what happens for you, but how you react to it. Because that's the
Right.
only thing you can control.
Right. And that brings to mind the different levels of consciousness, right? Like if you're stuck in fear, you're going to see life through a lens of scarcity and fear and, what's going to happen to me today? And what if I can't pay my bills? And that's when the thoughts come, right? And the thoughts influence how we feel and vice versa. And we are electromagnetic. I think of it, and this is from Joe Dispenza, who I always reference and
I
we
love
both
him.
love. Yep. That our thoughts are the electrons, right? Electro, and magnetic is from the heart. So
Yep.
you literally draw experiences into your life based upon your heart, how open it is, and also the beliefs that you have that you're constantly thinking about. And even if they're unconscious.
Yep. You can't control. So a friend of mine said, and I love this, you can't control the first thought that you have, but you can control every other thought after that. And so if you have a negative thought and you continue to dwell on that, the negative thoughts are drawn to you so quick. So if you have a negative thought and you can be aware of it, because
Mhm.
that's the key, is awareness, to be aware of that and then stop it. Say, nope, that's not how I choose to think today. I choose to think, and whatever it is. And that has so much to do, like you said, Christina, with, your subconscious and your conscious, consciously making a choice of
Mhm.
thinking things that are positive in your future versus the negative.
Right. And I think something that you just brought to my mind is like something that can help that. Like if you're listening to this podcast or on YouTube and you're thinking like, oh, like I get caught in negative thoughts. We all do. I think it's like Angela said, it's the awareness, but it's also getting into that space, maybe even in meditation, where you can observe those thoughts and then not react to them or not get attached to them. And to come into that heart coherence and visualize what it is that you want for your future, right? So it's like, even though maybe the past conditioned you to think a certain way or feel a certain way about yourself, this is so much of the embodiment work that we did
Yep.
in the Quantum Queen
Yeah.
course. But it's really about, all right, well, what is the image in my mind? What would I look like as the highest version of myself? How would I be treating my body? And that's how I began to heal, was through that embodiment work and really rewiring my thoughts about myself. So you can even do that in visualization. I mean, hypnosis and
Absolutely.
different things are definitely helpful too in rewiring your subconscious patterns, but you can do that on a conscious level too in deeper states of meditation. So if that's
Yep.
something you're interested in, you can definitely do that.
Absolutely. And I think, a couple of things that just came up for me there, Christina, is that
Mhm.
how do you, if you have that negative thought and a quick way to get rid of it, because we all have them throughout the day, and it's not like during the day you can stop necessarily and meditate or get into your heart or whatever, although I do every time I go to the bathroom or whatever,
Yeah.
when I get those moments alone. But just breathe and focus on your breath and be in the here and now, and that will quickly, that's one tip that I find really helps me, is to get into the here now, right now, and that rather than just keep thinking about it, just stop and breathe and focus on that breath. And if you consistently do that, you'll find it, a practice that you can implement throughout your day.
I've also heard too, to piggyback off of that, like actually looking at something physically, right? Like this water bottle, right? Because like we're up here in our mind and getting into our body, or like actually touching something or being like, oh, I'm here, or even like feeling your feet on the ground. Those are great ways to really get more in your body and get out of your mind, which
Yep.
is
And
great.
what I teach in, what I'm teaching, and I'm actually doing a live tonight in my group, is about actually physically touching your heart,
Yeah. Yeah.
physically touching your heart.
Hmm.
So sometimes when I'm in a place where, I'm like getting a little stressed out or whatever, and people don't even realize, I just go, and just because that brings your attention, where you feel things will bring your attention to it. So that brings your attention, like you said, to get out of that, that mind, and to get into your heart.
Mm. Another thing that came across that I wanted to come back to from what you were saying before, which I think is beautiful, is healing your heart. Like when you talk about that, what does that mean to you? Like releasing, or what does that look like when someone's healing their heart?
So to me, life is always up and down. If anybody tells you they have a perfect ongoing life, that's not true. We all have ups and downs.
Hmm.
Some things are more profound. Like if you think about so think about something that was really impactful to you in the past,
Hmm.
and you're feeling about it. More times than not, it's going to be something negative, or something that was hurtful
Hmm.
or hard or sad or whatever. We do also think about the positives, absolutely, but the first thing that usually comes to mind is about something negative.
Hmm.
So to me, that means, so many people have these experiences, which we all have as humans, but we just kind of like move on from them,
Yeah.
and it affects us. And sometimes we don't even realize it, but it's in our subconscious.
Hmm.
So
Exactly.
healing your heart is really to me, all about looking at those situations and not judging them, not judging them, to release them, to let them go, because they take up so much space and energy in your heart
Hmm.
that it's hard to create something new.
Yeah.
You don't have the energy for it because you're just so mired up with this negative crap from the past. So to me, healing your heart is all about to look at that lovingly, in a loving way, and to be able to release it and let go, and forgive those who may have wronged you, yourself, whatever the case may be. And it, like I said, it just really opens up the mental clarity,
Hmm.
the compassion, the space to move forward.
Right. And Joe Dispenza talks about transmuting, it's alchemy. So you have this energy. I see it as like an undigested trauma. Like, so say
That's
if
a
you
good one.
ate a piece of pizza and it never got digested, like that pizza is going to remain in your body or whatever it is that you're eating. So that's what happens is I see it as undigested trauma or things that like impact us and jolt our system that we need to kind of go back in, feel it and release it in some way, like through breath work or screaming or whatever it is. And that's
Yeah.
what I found to be so impactful to releasing that energy, because that becomes transmuted into creative energy, like you said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I just have found that people, if you read the stories about people who have really overcome, really overcome a lot, so much and have gone on, one of the things that I've noticed in a lot of those stories is that they've healed internally.
Right.
It may not be a band-aid that you can see or a scar that you can see on your body, but it's those internal healings. And to me, the healing of your heart that really translates to me into long life healing, and being able to then, you find very few people, like I said, who just have really overcome the odds without that healing.
Right, exactly. And I always tell people that, doing that inner work, and I know you believe the same thing, that translates to the external result, whatever that is, if it's weight loss and health, or if it's like translating to results in your business, whatever it is, you need to go within and do that. So I love that. And your group, in case anybody was curious, I know you all are curious, Angela has an amazing Facebook group called Healing Your Heart to Heal Your Mind and Body. And I'm going to put that in the show notes, but definitely go check that out because she has amazing content in there. She's going to be doing an awesome Facebook Live that you're definitely going to want to check out. So make sure you go join that group. So I guess let's switch gears a little bit to some of the things that you're really excited about. So I know you have this amazing Facebook group. Tell us a little bit more about what you're currently up to.
So what I'm currently up to is I am working on releasing my signature program, which I worked with Christina on. So watch for that coming to your airways soon. And, it's about healing your heart to heal your mind and body. And so I'm really excited about that program. I'm really excited about just continuing to be in this space and to be, I'm going to be, my plan is within the next quarter to start my own podcast. So I'm really excited about that. So I'm putting that out there. So I'm going to have to do it. And just really all about getting out there to make an impact. I've spent a lot of time over the last couple of years working on me. I still am. I'm call myself a whip, a work in progress, but we all are. And so I just plan on continuing to do that on my podcast. In the next quarter, my signature program will be out. And then I have a few other things that I'm working on that are going to be
surprises.
Surprises. Yep.
I love it. I love it. Is there any, I'm so proud of your journey and just how far you've come since I started. We met, what was it, back in March?
Yeah, was it there? Wow. April, I think. Yeah.
It's amazing what can happen in 6 months or 4 months, whatever it's been.
Yeah, it's amazing when you release and you trust the universe what can happen.
Absolutely. And you dove right in, which was amazing. So anything else that you wanted to share with the audience, or any tips for people just starting their spiritual journey, anything like that you would impart on them?
So I would say, if you say you don't have time for meditation, you need to do more of it. It has really changed and transformed my life.
Yeah.
I have a routine now that I generally do every day in the morning, which I'll share in my group. But all I can say is you need to take time for you. Mm-hmm. The other thing that I find very interesting, and I am included in this group, is that one of the things that if you ask somebody, what do you want? They can't tell you. All they can do is tell you what they don't want. Mm-hmm. And so one of the things to getting to where you want to go is to be really clear and concise on what you want. And we're so conditioned in today's world to want what everybody else wants for us. But to really start thinking about, what do you want in life? And I think that, coupled with the meditation, because like as Christina said, part of my meditation includes visualization. And that's one of the great attributes of many world thinkers or people who have really done a lot for society or for,
Mhm.
you know, the human race. I mean, if you think about it, everything we see in today's world was a thought first.
Right, exactly.
You know, the computer technology, my clothes, my hair, my, you know, perms, my everything. It was a thought first.
Right,
So your thoughts matter. And so that's why I think it's important. Like I said, I just want to get that out there, that because just so many people don't know what they want. So if you
right.
ask yourself right now, what do you want? I don't want to be heavy. I don't want to be in debt. No, 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 no. What do you want? So starting with that, just journaling, writing down, you know, make a list of 3 things every day that you want. And then to meditate, and how do you meditate? There are tons of things on YouTube, but I have meditation in my group. I think
Yep.
Christina does also. So there are lots of resources out there.
I love that too, because it's like, I feel like meditation is also being able to catch those thoughts like we talked about. So those two things that you recommended kind of have a beautiful synergy together that I see. But yeah, definitely, like I said, everybody join Angela's group. There are so many amazing resources. Connect with her. I'm going to leave her information in the show notes here. And I look forward to potentially being a guest on your podcast.
Absolutely. I'm going to have you on.
In the next quarter. So we're all holding you to it, me and the entire audience.
Hold that space for me.
That's beautiful. Well, thank you so much for sharing all of your wisdom, your knowledge, your heart with us. And I look forward to our podcast in the future.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Christina. Again, as I said earlier, that, you know, I've had a lot of different coaches and programs, but having a one-on-one or very small intimate group is key to success. And I highly recommend that you look at working with Christina if you're on the fence about it.
Oh, you're so sweet. I promise I'm not paying her to say that.
Nope, absolutely not.
Oh, you're so sweet. Well, take care, everybody, and we'll see you on the next episode.